Hi, I'm Debbie Benner. I live near here and I come to the battlefields often. This is my favorite place. One thing I've noticed is that most people walk up to the monuments and statues and react basically the same way. They usually say, "That's nice," or "That seems different," or "That doesn't make any sense." Most people read the description provided by the park, but don't grasp the significance of the monuments and the statues here. As an example of what I'm talking about, there's a statue of an American Indian standing in front of a teepee. Most visitors believe that Indians fought at Gettysburg. Believe me, no American Indian fought here. However, the statue of the Indian is appropriate, and you'll see why later. Another monument that visitors have difficulty with is an 18-ton rock used to remember an infantry unit. This may seem strange, and we ask ourselves, why is this rock significant? However, to the brave men who fought in this particular unit, this was the appropriate monument. Again, you'll see why later. Some of these bronze and granite monuments mark the positions where Americans fought the greatest three-day battle this continent has ever seen. Built by some of the finest companies and sculptors of late 19th century America, they honor the men who fought, bled, and died on the 25 square miles of Pennsylvania countryside. Each of over 1,300 monuments and statues stand silently honoring the participants of this epic battle. Each one has a story or biography that's worth telling. Therefore, we've chosen 70 monuments and statues at random. Some were chosen because of their size, while others were chosen because of their unique qualities. Some were chosen because of their unique beauty. All of them share one thing in common. They have interesting stories. Enough of this talk. Let's see the monuments and statues, and I'll tell you their stories. I'll be seeing you later. Bye.
Stand by.
Memorial number 1, the Pennsylvania State Monument. The Pennsylvania State Monument is one of the largest monuments at the Gettysburg battlefield and is the most photographed. Dedicated on September 27, 1910, and costing $200,000, it's one of the 2 monuments on the battlefield that has 2 tiers and is one of the most expensive monuments at Gettysburg. On the massive dome is a 21-foot statue of the Goddess of Victory and Peace, weighing 7,500 pounds. In the statue's right hand is a sword held aloft, and her left hand holds the palm leaf of peace. The most famous statue in front of the monument is an 8-foot statue of President Abraham Lincoln, who is one of the 2 non-Pennsylvanians honored by this monument. Other statues include General George E. Meade, General Winfield Scott Hancock, and General John Reynolds. The sculptor who created the Goddess of Victory and Peace was Samuel Murray of Philadelphia, and the statue was cast from bronze taken from melting down cannons used in the war. Under the dome, there are granite monoliths containing battle scenes honoring the 4 branches of service. Murray was responsible for sculpting the classical maidens in the spandrels above and flanking the arches. These serve as the attendants to victory, and each hold trumpets or a victor's wreath. Memorial number 2, the New York State Memorial. This monument is located in the National Cemetery area rather near the battlefield. The monument overlooks the New York plot in the cemetery. It was dedicated on July 2, 1893, and cost about $60,000. At the base of the 30-foot column, there are depictions of the wounding or slaying of 2 generals from New York. The column is part Ionic and part Corinthian in design. At the front of the base is the Bronze Seal of New York, above which sits an eagle perched on battlefields and trophies of the war won by New York State soldiers. At the top of the monument is a female figure crying over the state's fallen soldiers. Her right hand holds a wreath of flowers to be laid on the graves of the deceased. At the base of the monument, there are alto reliefs representing generals from New York during the battles. The 4 scenes are entitled the wounding of General Sickles, the wounding of General Hancock, General Slocum's Council of War, and the death of General Reynolds. Memorial number 3, the Virginia State Monument. The Virginia State Monument was the first of the Southern states' monuments placed at Gettysburg. At a cost of $50,000, the monument was dedicated in 1917. It is thought that the statue of General Robert E. Lee on his horse, Traveler, is one of the finest equestrian statues in the world. The sculptor traveled to Lexington, Virginia, to study the skeleton of Traveler at Washington and Lee. A live horse, matching the size and bearing of Traveler, was used as a model for the statue. Death masks and photographs were used to render the likeness of General Robert E. Lee. At the base of the monument are statues of 7 soldiers in the Army of Northern Virginia. 2 boys, a bugler and color bearer, are depicted along with men representing individuals from all walks of life. There is a farmer, a professional man, a mechanic, an artist, and a businessman. Each is in battle garb. One man is holding a musket with fixed bayonet, and another is firing his pistol, as one man is swinging his musket to ward off an advancing foe. Memorial number 4, the Florida State Monument. Located near where Brigadier General Edward A. Perry's Florida Brigade was situated during the battle, the Florida State Memorial has 2 granite shafts. This monument was dedicated on July 3, 1963, the 100th anniversary of the battle, and at a cost of $20,000. The largest column contains the state seal of Florida. The smaller column has the sentiments honoring the soldiers who died on the battlefield. 3 stars represent 3 Florida infantry regiments who fought in the battle. Memorial number 5, the Louisiana State Memorial. The Louisiana State Memorial was dedicated in 1971 and cost $100,000. It consists of 2 figures, a reclining artilleryman and a 10-foot-tall female representing the spirit of the Confederacy. The fallen man is covered with a Confederate battle flag and is clutching it to his heart. The female statue is holding a flaming cannonball in her right hand, and the dove of peace is nestled in the reeds beneath the statue. It is believed that the female figure represents Saint Barbara, the patron saint of artillerymen. The story is told that a woman was executed for converting to Christianity, and her executioner was struck by lightning. Because of the fate befallen of the executioner, Barbara became the patron saint called upon to protect one in a storm. Artillerymen adopted her as their patron saint. Memorial number 6, the Mississippi State Memorial. The Mississippi State Memorial was dedicated in 1973 and cost $100,000. It was erected on the site where General William Barksdale's brigade waited to go into battle. The statue represents the hand-to-hand combat used during the course of the battle on July 2, 1863, that took place on Emmitsburg Road. The Mississippi forces overwhelmed the Union line at that point. The fallen soldier holds the regimental flag, and his comrade is using his musket as a club defending the fallen flag. Memorial number 7, the Georgia State Memorial. This rather simple memorial was dedicated in 1961, and an identical memorial was dedicated at Antietam Battlefield. Positioned near where General Paul Semmes's brigade stood preparing for battle, the column has the state seal on the front and back. The inscription on the monument is quite simple but eloquent. We sleep here in obedience to law. When duty called, we came. When country called, we died. Memorial number 8, the Arkansas State Memorial. The Arkansas State Memorial is one of 3 state monuments that have an outline of the state on the monument. Dedicated in 1966 and costing $50,000, this monument has a carving of soldiers fighting rather than statues of participants in the battles. The monument takes place where the 3rd Arkansas Infantry formed for an assault on Union forces. It is also unique in that it has blocks of aluminum in the corners of the monument. The blocks depict the state's role in aluminum production. Memorial number 9, the Texas State Memorial. Although Texas was the largest state that fought for the Confederacy, the Texas State Memorial is one of the smallest state monuments. It was dedicated in 1964 and cost $1,000. However, identical monuments were placed at other fields to commemorate the soldiers that came from Texas. Besides the inscription honoring the soldiers, there's the Lone Star of Texas on top of the monument. The largest monument honoring soldiers from the Lone Star State is in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Memorial number 10, Alabama State Memorial. Positioned where General Evander Law's brigade stood on the extreme right of the Army of Northern Virginia, the Alabama State Memorial honors the soldiers from that state. It was the 3rd Southern state monument at Gettysburg. The central female statue, representing the spirit of Alabama, is comforting a wounded soldier while urging his comrades on. The 2 soldiers represent the spirit and determination of the Alabama soldiers who fought in the battles. The monument was dedicated in 1933 and cost $12,000.